Welcome back, artists. We are going to finish up our ocean Zentangle today by watercolor painting this Sharpied project. So what you need to do is make sure you have a palette of watercolor paints, water and a paintbrush, a paper towel to get excess water off, and then the Zentangle ocean scene that you drew last week. Hopefully at this point you have erased all of the pencil out from underneath the Sharpie. So if you haven't done that or gotten your supplies ready yet, please press pause and come back when you are ready to paint. And we are gonna get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that my brush is nice and damp and has water on it. And we are going to be doing the ocean landscape in only cool colors. So we have to remember what our cool colors are. Our cool colors are the greens, blues, and purples in our rainbow. So these oceans, the ocean swell and tide lines, we are going to do one color per Zentangle section. And I encourage you to at least leave 1 or 2 sections white. And the reason for that is it'll be a really cool contrast with the blues, greens, and purples, especially because Zentangles are typically black and white. So you might want to choose right now the 2 sections or 1 section at least, maybe 3, but probably not more than 3, depending on how many tide lines you have. At least 1 section that you're gonna leave white. And pick that one now so that while you're painting, you remember to stay really inside the lines around that section. Remember, watercolor paints tend to bleed. They take a life on their own, take on a life of their own with the water and the movement on the page, which is why they're so beautiful. So if for some reason, let's say I chose this little skinny section right here to leave white, which I'm gonna try to do today. If my watercolor paints travel into that section, maybe too much, then I can choose a different section to leave white and then go ahead and paint that. So have a good plan ahead of time moving forward, but don't be too attached to what your plan is because watercolors take on a life of their own. So I'm gonna find my cool colors. And I see in my palette, my greens and my blues and my purples are all right in here. And I'm gonna start with my blue, just typical blue, ocean blue. And I'm gonna come up here and I'm just gonna start painting. And you'll see right away that my paint tends to cover some of the Sharpie in darker sections than other sections. As long as you're spreading the paint around, all of those Sharpie details will start to show through. So you'll see here that it was really thick in this section. And then instead of adding more paint to my brush, I'm just using my brush to pull that paint across my ocean swell line right here. So I'm just gonna start a couple of these. I'm actually not gonna finish all these sections with you in this slow mode. I'm gonna move to fast mode in a moment and do a few more so you can see it a little quicker. But I will finish this first one here like this. And I also wanna say, if your paint goes out of the lines, I actually think that's pretty cool, especially in a drawing / painting like this one, where you have such detailed work with your Sharpie that a little bit of paint outside of the lines is a nice touch. It's a nice contrast for that detailed work. Okay, so there's my blue section here. I might think to myself, well, I kind of want to add a little bit of darker blue in that one section. And you're welcome to do some color blending and color layering. So I just used a different blue on my palette, just in this little section here. By no means do you have to feel like you have to do one color per section. You can definitely add colors around here. I might even want to use a little bit of green and get some green working in this top wave. Remember, cool colors, greens, blues, and purples. So then I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna move to the next section. And I'm going to say I kind of like that black and white checkered line to just stay black and white checkered. I'm going to leave that one white. And I'm going to move into my purple color right now. And I'm going to come into this next ripply one and I'm going to add some purple. So I'm going to keep painting right now and I'm going to shift into my fast mode so you can see this get finished a little bit quicker. And it's up to you how you're going to add your blues and greens and purples onto this painting. So go ahead, have fun, get creative, and remember, stick with your cool colors for this ocean. And when we finish the ocean landscape, we're gonna finish up with one more detail. So please stay tuned at the end of this video for one last little touch. So now that you have finished your ocean painting and we see all these distinct swell lines and you left a few or maybe one blank with just white for contrast, remember how we had you draw one particular thing so that you could have perspective on the page. So I encourage you to do either a boat like I did, or a sun, or a bird, or maybe there was a shark in your ocean somewhere. You made a creative choice to draw one other thing so there was perspective, so you could see how big these ocean swell lines really were compared to that one thing that you drew. So for that last piece on your drawing, in my case, it's my sailboat, I'm gonna choose one warm color. So remember, if the cool colors are the greens, blues, and purples, we know the warm colors are the red, oranges, and yellows. So whatever it was that you drew, you're gonna choose one of the warm colors. So in my case, I'm gonna choose red. So not only do we have this one object that now is showing perspective in terms of the size of what we're drawing for scale, the sizing, but we're also gonna have that one object be in contrast with your color wheel. So if these are warm color, or excuse me, these are cool colors, then we have our one warm color object on the page as contrast. And for me, again, I don't mind when my watercolor paint goes outside the line. I actually think it's pretty cool. It gives it some character. I'm gonna leave the flag white. So the only thing I'm going to do the sail white is paint the boat itself red. And that's it. I'm not gonna add any more to it. I'm gonna leave it just like that. I would encourage you to do the same thing where you're not coloring in the sky or adding more details anywhere else on the page, because then these tie-dyed movement lines of watercolor really give that a nautical feel. You have your boat, you have the watercolor lines, and everything kind of ties together because it's an ocean scene. So that's it for today. Have fun painting. Have fun using your creative, unique imaginations to turn this ocean Zentangle into your own personal masterpiece. And please send me photos. I cannot wait to see how they turn out. Thanks for joining me. I hope you had fun. I will see you next time. Bye.